Aloha from Hawaii and howdy, how you are, howdy from Texas. And I bring you good news because the gospel is good news. And but anyway, we're back to normal again. We we had what you call COVID, Sharon and I, after the convention. A whole week of convention, the Southwest Believers Convention, and that the following week we kind of felt tired and all, and our grandson, uh, one of the twins had got sick and fever and all that, and so we went to check. In fact, they found out that he did have COVID, and so we went to check on ourselves, and we found out, Sharon and I, that we also caught the same thing. And so we went to the place at the clinic at what the Baylor and Scott and White, and clinic, and they told us that drive in the back. So we went towards the back, and they would put that thing down your nose halfway, and the other one down your nose all the way. And they said the one that goes halfway they'll let us know in 20 minutes. And so by the time we got home, then they said, yeah, it was positive. And so they said we have alternative. We can go to the hospital and go and get a what they call regenerant shot, so to speak. And that's optional. It's not mandatory, but if we want to, that we could do that. So we said, okay. We went about, was it Friday night at 9 o'clock, and a lot of people there at the ER. That's where it was, at the ER. And they finally called us in about 12:15, and they put us together. Sharon and I were together, and I thought how nice it is that husband and wife could be together, because it was so crowded, all the office, bedrooms, whatever. And so we waited around for an hour or so, and they finally came and gave us that what they call regenerant, and kind of like an IV, and stick it into our arm for about 15 minutes. And it's kind of like an antibiotic. It's an antibiotic. And then they pulled it out and said you got to hang around for about an hour. Make sure you don't faint or get some kind of a reaction. And so we didn't. And so we finally left, got home about 3:30 in the morning. Praise the Lord. And so anyway, we were in quarantine for about 10 days, Sharon and I, and we found out that our other grandson, twin grandson, both of them caught it, and then our son-in-law, he also caught it. So three of them were all upstairs, and Sharon and I downstairs. We didn't see each other the whole time. And but our darling daughter, she cooked breakfast, lunch, dinner for us, and put it on a nice place and nice plate and fancy cooking. And so we were really blessed that she didn't catch it, and our older grandson and older granddaughter, all three of them didn't catch it. And in fact, the two older ones had just gotten their shots, and so they were fine. And so anyway, we in a way, Sarah and I were blessed that we had it together, and we could together and talk story and fellowship, and like just go to sleep, and etc. So we were kind of blessed that it was pretty mild, and we learned that after 6 months it's no longer effective. And so that's one of the things we learned, and that it seemed like that shot they gave us, the generant or regenerant shot, that it seemed to have helped because it was antibiotic. And so we were blessed that the fact that we got to go home and didn't have to be at a hospital like a lot of people. They get, you've heard of it. They stay in a hospital and for days and weeks and months, and then go on to that, what they call it, machine, and trying to breathe, and some of them died. And so our neighbor across the street, he's an MD, and he works in the ER, and so he sees the patients, COVID patients, or pandemic patients, every day. And he said, "Oh, one just died, the other day, and he was healthy and 43 years of age and all that kind of stuff, and they still die." And so it's we just never know. We're kind of at the mercy of those pandemic, and we don't know who has them. And so we've been real fortunate for the year and a half that we never caught it or had it. And so it was such a blessing that this whole year and a half we didn't catch it or had it. And then also the fact that Sharon and I were able to had it together, and so we can still fellowship, and we're still ministering as people are calling in for prayers and things like that, and so we got to pray with them. Calls from Arizona, calls from Oklahoma, and people just calling, friends that we haven't heard for a long time, and they're just asking for prayer, and so we got to still continue to pray and send out emails, and I wasn't doing any YouTube, but we still were doing our Saturday Night Live of teaching in the Philippines. Every Saturday night we do that in the Philippines, and still teaching the people over there, and so